Got it. They don't make them anymore. They don't sell them anymore at the Home Depot and no place else. So I'm down at Severance, which is disappointing because like all the stores are closed, Office Max are pulling the signs off, Marshalls doesn't exist. This is a mall that I think they started in '68. I saw Prince's Purple Rain here when I was summer of '84. So used to go over there to Kaiser for medical, but that's no longer medical. So anyhow, it's very annoying because it just said see Cleveland Heights for stock, and I came here and the app didn't say where it was, and I'm walking around the store looking up and high and everywhere, and then I walked by the pack out Milwaukee area, and sure enough it was dumped over there. So theoretically there's another one in there someplace, but I don't know where it is. So let me get the heck out of here. This is 30 minutes out of the way from going home. Dry stack these, and it looks like I'm not going to run out of brick. I'm going to probably have that much left over, 4 or 5, and I'm probably going to have to cut those bricks because, oh boy, I'm looking right now before I add mortar, which is another 1/2 inch. I'm almost at 8 as it is, and this is 7, so I need to come down. I want 7.5. So, yeah, so these are gonna have to get cut, but at least I'm not gonna run out of brick. I think I'm gonna leave that there for the moment. It's pretty stable. This is feeling great because it's all locked in. That's me feeling great. This has been here for like 3 years loose, so it's a milestone to have something cemented in. Went to my parents' house to help with the electrical problem, which I fixed, and then they had a piece of trim that needed to be cut in 3 different profiles, and they didn't have a saw. So I said I'd come back tomorrow with a scroll saw and a proper. I wait for my parents, so this is the garage. They added that 200 amp panel a couple years ago. That's for charging the electric car. You can come in here. This had yellow vinyl when I was growing up. Actually, when we moved in here, there was nothing. That's the same siding as it was on the outside of the house. This wasn't here when I was growing up, this lattice work. That wasn't here originally, then they added this. There's 2 fireplaces. They're the high efficiency ones that pull the air from the, I don't know if it pulls from the outside. It was fun when this was open because you could yell at people through here. The TV's always been here. The basement I lived in for a little bit. I used to have a little bedroom over here. Then that was the kids' bathroom. I can't tell you how many times I ended up on the floor because I'd run down these stairs and I'd jump down the stairs, and about 6 times, probably 8 if I don't remember properly, I'd hit my head right here because it's not that far, I could hit it just walking down. So that's great. This kitchen / dining area, living room. This was dark color, and this is the other side of the fireplace. That's a whole wasted space up there. There's nothing back there except for some tubes. Originally, when we moved here, the TV was here. Here's the hole for the antenna. Enhance. There it is. For years, we've had these bookshelves, and then they had the stereo there and the bookshelf speakers there, so it worked pretty well. They added that when they took the chimney out. There used to be a normal chimney here. Back behind there, there's just a little utility closet here, and they made a bigger closet. There was a gas stove that they had since 1967 up until a couple years ago. That's the same model that Joe and I bought in 95 when we bought our house. All the appliances died within like 3 years. The water heater the first year, then the furnace like second year, then the refrigerator. It was pretty messed up. Then stairs going upstairs. And then, well, we went over that. The other bathrooms, 2 full baths, though it just had a ceiling here. This used to be part of the attic. The ceiling just went along there. So then my parents' bedroom, my bedroom, and my sister's bedroom. And we already been up there. So, and then you got the outside. They built a deck. Oh God, probably late 70s. Just this part here, there's still the old sandstone brick steps underneath here, the sliding glass door. Then they added the lattice at some point, then they added on, and they added the pond. That little tree right there, enhance. That tree used to be like only, I could put my hands around it. It was just a little tree. I used to have a zip line between the trees. It was more like that size so it's growing a lot. So yeah, pond's looking good. So today's fun is I got 22 systems that potentially have bad CPU heat sinks, and I have to remove each one. Yesterday I did 5, and of those 5, 3 of them had bad processors. So you don't want to bend any of those pins. Ask me how I know. Then you don't want to touch this surface at all. Fortunately, these new processors have a little thing that flips them out. Now I see already a little discoloration over here, so that's great. Why isn't this thing coming out? Oh, she's stuck. Okay, this one actually looks, oh no. We'll go ahead and clean the new the goo is nicely dispersed. Normally you have to get a little paste and you have to plop it on there, and it's an art as to where you apply it. They didn't give me enough, so it's nice that heatsink has that. And what's happening is that, well, for whatever reason, this copper plating, which is attached to the aluminum, is coming apart, or maybe it was dirty, or they didn't plate it properly, or there's contamination, so that the copper separates from aluminum. So now it's getting the heat, but it's not transferring the heat because there's a gap, and then it gets really, really freaking hot, and then it burns the CPU up. We had one fail back in January, so kind of important. Okay, well, this one does have a little, looks like a little thing. I'll post some pictures later of a really bad one. This processor doesn't have anything bad on it, other than I started bleeding. When I got to transfer this plastic piece from here to there. When I did it, I scratched my finger and dug in on these little metal clips. I do like these clips, so what they do is they hook on down here, and it allows you to hook the processor in. So obviously, it's really important that these pads here line up in the right place. So you see I got some smudge on there, that's great. Gotta clean that off. I've been using the same pad. I should swap pads to lay the processor on. But anyhow, so these are professionally guiding, but it's nice to have those clips before you tighten down the screws, because you're tightening the screws down in a pattern, so you're starting 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas these align it and get it down flat. So anyhow, I want to do 8 of these today, so there's the 7th. And this processor seems fine. Here's an example of a bad one. See that little spot there? Voila! Look, it actually deposited the copper out of the hot part. It transferred from here and melted onto there. You'll see worse ones, but that's a bad one. Well, we got it started with the new carb. It isn't running quite right, but I am a little concerned that the wheels aren't, this wasn't spinning. So I looked underneath, I could tell the belt was hanging off there. So looks like we definitely got to put some belts in there. We also smell a large amount of mouse poop debris. I think there's a mouse house in here. Now that it's warm, it kind of stinks, but that definitely is off there. Definitely got some squirrelish shit here. So I'm gonna blow this off before I go any farther. But it looks like I gotta figure out where this goes. But first, let's down to the nitty and gritty. Scrap pipe, my scaffolding that I loaned him, gave him 10 years ago. More scrap metal, plant stands. Yeah. So I just moved everything forward. I forgot, I put a lot of plants on the outside because it was easy to load. I forgot to go. I needed to move them back there to protect them a little bit from the wind. But yeah, there's more plants inside here. So hopefully this is my last dish trip. I don't know, but I've already said I'll be back Tuesday to fix it. Humanity, all sockets. So we got English sockets, metric sockets, no 10s. Just like in life, no 10s or 8s.
We're running out. We did on the garage. If you remember this build, we went up and there with the sheeting.
You goofballs.
Not me. Right here,
I paid attention.
Put the sockets on later.
Why do I get you now?
This one, we're doing something a little different. The rafters are now coming out because they're part of the trusses, which is much stronger and a lot faster.
Go play with your goofball friend.
Get our monopoly framing detailed.